Hello, friends, and welcome back to r/IDontWorkHereLady. Today we have 3 great new stories waiting for us, and the first of them, She Doesn't Work Here, Lady, a tale from the other side. But before we start, if you're new, don't forget to subscribe and turn on notifications for new stories every single day, and let's get started. The stories on this sub are some of the funniest out there, although I've never been falsely accused, I guess, of working somewhere I did not. I do have a story from the manager side of it. So a large part of my customer service career was working for the coffee shop with a mermaid for a logo. As you can imagine, a place like that has its fair share of regulars. Employees are expected and encouraged to interact with their customers, so it's easy to become friendly and even friends with some of the regulars who employees share interests with. Such a thing is not uncommon. One night, while managing a shift, I was called over to the cash register by a barista who was being berated by a "can I speak to a manager" type. My first reaction was, my partner on register was not that strong, so what did she do now? So I get there, and it turns out that her issue is not with this girl at all. It's with that rude, foul-mouthed employee over there. I look to the direction of where she's pointing and wonder if she's not taken some medication, because she is clearly seeing imaginary employees. I catch a regular who I'll call Tim shaking his head at a table, but that's it. So I look back and tell her I'll gladly address the situation, but I can't see any of my employees where she's pointing. Yes, you do. I know you see that man right there. Look, I don't care that he's not working right now. I've been in HR for years, and I know that when you're on your store's property, any company like this says you're representing them. All I did was ask him for help. He didn't have to react that way. Me. Tim, I'm sorry, ma'am. He doesn't work here. Can I help you with whatever you asked him for? Lady, are you serious? I don't want any help from some manager who's going to lie just to save his friend's hide. That's ridiculous. You know I'm going over your head with this. Me. I don't know what to do for you if you don't want me to help you out, but don't call me a liar. He really doesn't work here. Lady, that's crap. I see him here all the time. You know his freaking name, and you're going to try to tell me he doesn't work here? He's talking to your employees all the time outside. How dumb do you think I am? All I asked him to do was ask someone working to put more whipped cream on this. This didn't have to be such a big deal, but how does it feel to know you're both going to lose your job for being so stupid? At this point, Tim gives me a look, almost as if he's seeing if I want help. He's already standing up and headed towards the door. I'm figuring to have a smoke. His laptop is still on the table, so I give him an eye that says it's fine, just go outside. Not sure what he could have done anyway, but I'll also admit I didn't know him as well as some of my staff. Me. Well, Tim works for his father's business, so something tells me he won't get fired for being so friendly with us that you think he works here. And I'm really hoping I don't get fired for you not letting an actual employee help you and expecting a customer to. I need to go brew coffee. Cashier can give you the corporate number if you'd like. I ducked behind the counter and didn't get bothered by her again, so I don't know if she ever called, but I was never told if she did. Tim and I were way cooler after that, so it did make me a friend. By the way, if she sees Tim there all the time, as she claims, doesn't that mean that she's there all the time too? Because that must mean she works there too. She should have fired her. And our second story. Drunk lady wants to stay, doesn't understand, this is my house and I don't work nights. So, I work at a women's refuge in a very small town. Women and children stay there when they need to, and we also run a women's group and a girls group, have a small secondhand clothing store, help women and families set up when they move into a new house, and help with transport, food parcels, etc. Basically, we're the go-to if anyone needs help. It's worth noting at this point that when this happened, I'd been doing admin every morning and helping with the morning rush as we opened our doors for women to come in and have a shower and do their washing and helped women get their kids enrolled and ready for school each day. I'd not worked nights or on call for about 2 years at this point, with the exception of very rarely being called in to help out if we had a new staff member doing a night and they were struggling with a group of women or children who came in, but still never stayed the night and never covered the on-call phone. At the time of this story, my partner was away at work. Now, even when I was working nights, I've always drawn a hard line at people coming to my house. I don't like people. I worked with people because there wasn't much else available, and I enjoy helping out the kids and showing them that there's a better way to live and encouraging them to aim for that rather than follow the path that the majority of their family took. I've never once encouraged any woman to come to my house for anything, and very firmly turn them away if I catch them approaching my house. If a kid knocks on my door and wants a drink and a snack, I help them out, but not adults. To be honest, I'm slightly disgusted at most of the adults in this town for pissing away their money and leaving their kids to scavenge for food and weather-appropriate clothing. The amount of times I've seen drunk adults sitting around a campfire with thick coats and jackets while the kids are kicked away to play, shivering and barefoot in shorts and a tank top, it's enough to turn anyone's stomach. I was bundled up on the couch watching TV intermittently, being distracted by the raging arguments going on across the road. In a small town like this, we have drunk, screaming fights in the streets every night. It's odd if you don't hear at least one person acting like a tool outside your house between the hours of 6 p.m. and 8 a.m. This night, I was expecting a bad one because the house diagonally across from mine had a mob drinking in the front yard from about lunchtime. Comes to about 7 p.m. and the screaming and arguing started. I texted the on-call phone a heads up that they would likely get a few calls that night. The police and hospital have it. The refuge does not accept drunk women or women with head injuries. Those have been the rules since we had a drunk client threaten to attack a worker, and a lady nearly died on the couch because the hospital didn't disclose the bad concussion she had. Gets to be about 11 p.m. and I hear wailing approaching my house. Not a siren, but a woman crying because her man tipped out her beer. I'm sitting on the couch, sending out mental signals. Don't effing do it. Don't come to my door. Damn it, she's at my door. Don't do it. Don't you knock. Effing hell. She's gone and knocked on the door now. My dogs are going mental. They're about as social as I am, and they hate people coming to the door at night when my partner's away. I went to the door but didn't open it and asked who it was and what they wanted. Drunk lady was demanding that I call my work and tell them to come pick her up. I laughed a little. DL is a regular and she knows that A, she ain't going in because she's drunk. B, she hasn't been assaulted or threatened. She's actually been the aggressor all evening. C, we don't pick people up after dark ever. And D, I've effing told her not to come to my effing house multiple times. I sighed a little at the knowledge that she wouldn't just accept her fate and F along. She was definitely going to argue and whine and beg, all sprinkled with some abuse and a good amount of slurring. I'm glad the door is shut. I can smell the reek of her BO and beer seeping through the cracks, and I know it was open. I'd be a lot shorter with her, and my eyes would be watering. 10 minutes, I was saying the same thing for 15 minutes before I got angry and blew up at her. DL, you shouldn't be at my house. You know you can't go to the center because you're drunk. If you feel unsafe, you need to call the police, rinse, and repeat. And repeat. And repeat. And you get the idea. I finally had enough and thought, you know what? F this. I don't even care if she complains at work. I'm not on the clock right now. I'm not getting paid for this crap, and my feet hurt. So I yelled at her, get the F off my property. It's not my fault you're too drunk and dense to understand the same sentence you've heard 100 times in the last 10 minutes. And you have to the count of 3 to be effing gone before I let my dog out and call the police. So she's whining and trying to change my mind, so I bellowed, 1. There was a pause, and she started to plead some more. 2. There was a longer pause. I could almost hear the gears in her brain sluggishly turning. She's leaning on my front door at this point. I hear her intake of breath, and she starts to say, but 3. And I slam open the deadbolt and hear this satisfying pitter-patter of her running the F away. I waited about 5 minutes to see if she understood that I meant it, then sat back down on my heated blanket nest and finished my movie. I count to 3 before putting my toddler in timeout. I didn't know it worked on adults too. And our next story. I'm not scooping your sidewalk, lady. I live in condo-style apartments where maintenance does salt, plow the parking lot, but they don't scoop or salt the sidewalks. They leave buckets with salt all around the complex from fall to spring, and it's up to the residents to manage the walkways. Two of my neighbors are older folks with mobility issues, so for the last several years I've swept and salted their walkways while I'm doing mine. Most people see me doing it and get the hint that it's on them to clear their path. That is until Special Lady, SL, saw me today. SL and I don't know each other than generic hellos while I'm passing. She's lived here for about 2 years and should understand the way snow maintenance works here. Note, SL is one of those Starbucks and yoga ladies. She's not disabled like my elderly neighbors, so her walkway is her problem in my mind. I just finished scooping the walkways and was putting the lid back on the salt when I heard an ahem behind me. I looked at her and said my usual friendly hello. SL, you missed a few apartments. Me, huh? SL, my sidewalk, you didn't clean it off. You can't just pick and choose which ones get cleared. I pay rent here. Me, I live there, pointing at my door. I was just clearing my and the older folks since they can't. SL, so you're not doing mine then? Me, it's up to the residents to clear their sidewalks, ma'am. SL, clear my sidewalk or I'll have your job. You also did an awful job on the parking lot. I almost slipped getting out of my car. Your boss wouldn't appreciate a lawsuit, would he? Me, cold and damp, not in the mood. Look, lady, it's not my job to clear anything but my own sidewalk. If you slip, that's on you. Clear it yourself. SL, I'm calling maintenance on you. You're going to be out of a job. And that's where I turned and walked back into my home. It's been an hour. It's still snowing here, and hers is the only sidewalk uncleared. Can't wait for her to finally relent and do the damn thing herself. Hey guys, thank you all for watching the video to the end, and I'll see you in the next one.